New hotness.
What is happening?
Radioactive version. Yeah, we're working on a music video.
It's a vaporwave music video.
All right, Zabir.
What's up?
We've been talking a lot about Terrain 2.0.
That's right.
We haven't necessarily been showing a lot about Terrain 2.0. Yeah, I think it's time.
Yeah, I think it's time. I think we
Is
can
this
show you some
Terrain 2.0
Terrain
right here?
This is no, this is not Terrain 2.0. This is a default Unreal scene.
Let's just give a little context. Terrain
Okay.
2.0 is the sort of new pass on Terrain and what is it trying to achieve?
Right. So a couple of different things. Right now, our Terrain requires our lotting solution on Terrain isn't very good.
What's lotting?
So lotting stands for level of detail,
Got it.
and so we can't render everything at the highest resolution all the time. And so when you're farther away from a piece of geometry, we render it at a lower resolution. And the closer you get to it, the higher resolution versions come in. Currently, that distance ends up being very, very close to the camera.
Yes.
And so it doesn't look as good as it could.
Yes.
And so that's something we wanted to improve. The second thing is we kind of wanted a lot more interesting terrain that we wanted to be able to build. If you look at a lot of the Terran level now, it's very homogeneous in how the level looks. We want to have more variation, more interesting landscape features like ravines, caves, volcanoes, and more interesting land masses that make it more interesting.
Which more accurately reflect what a normal planet would be, right?
Right. And so for Terran, it might be more Earth-like, right, with Earth-like features of mountains.
Wow.
They're super excited over there. So for on Earth it would be mountains, volcanoes and ravines and plateaus and things like that.
Yep.
Kind of features. On alien planets we might look at interesting fractal patterns and fractal noise and
We were talking about craters earlier,
exactly. So something like a moon, we could have a lot of interesting craters and features that are unique to those. Just varied terrain features that currently we just can't do quite as well.
Now that we have the context out of the way, let's see the prototype. I want to see it.
Okay, yeah. So this is a prototype we built. Here we have one of the prototype levels we started testing and trying to scope out. And this is an island with a volcano.
Right.
This is kind of one of the major volcano prototypes we did to see if we can procedurally generate a volcano and what is it? What does it look like? Essentially, this is kind of a cone with a sphere cut out with noise applied. So the idea was, can we generate a interesting volcano that looks different from what's already in the game?
Right.
And so I think that on that front, I think it's looking promising.
Yeah.
It looks like we can start to generate some interesting stuff. This was a second kind of volcano that I attempted using some different techniques, but probably this is the better looking version of that.
Right.
The other thing we tried is what does it look like to have kind of islands, right? And you can kind of start to see that this is an island. We really start to get some interesting features like these coves that kind of come inward.
Mm-hmm.
You end up with like lagoons and little ponds and lakes that
Cliff
kind of start
faces and stuff.
to exactly appear. We also end up with cliff faces kind of like here, like on this side. Down here, right?
Yeah, it's cool.
We'll end up with some interesting features. You'll also end up with like beaches and kind of slow rolling hills into the water, something like this.
Right.
So this starts to give us a more interesting feel for terrain, not just the classic things that we've had, right?
And one thing I want to clarify, because you're mentioning water a lot.
Yep.
Water is something that we're considering doing.
Yeah.
But this is more, because this is a prototype, you can we can talk about water, but that doesn't necessarily confirm that there's going to be islands of water in the game.
Correct, absolutely, right. And even so, when it comes to water, there are different levels of interactivity of water that we may have, right? So there's something simple we could do is just have at a height level where water just exists, right? So that's just like the water level. Anything above that is land, and anything below that is water, right? And you can't really mess with the water in terms of like picking it up and moving it places, right? The next phase might be to allow you to do some level of interactivity on the water, be able to have some stuff that floats and you can kind of swim in and out, and then maybe the next level of water is where you can actually interact with it and you can move it around and have some interactivity. So there's various levels of water we can do, but yes, this was just mainly a prototype to get a feel for what can we generate. Can we generate visually interesting stuff that
and there's a lot of variation here, right? There's like so many different biomes on an island. You have like the beach, you have like the cliffs, you have the volcano.
Exactly.
Like, as an exercise, this is a good way to show the variation you can create using this like long method, essentially.
Right. Yep, exactly.
Cool. And the other part you guys were talking about, and maybe I'm revealing too much, is you'll have this generated terrain, but maybe maybe an artist will actually go in and create like certain features on certain planets, right?
Right. Yeah. I guess I should say all the parameters here can be manipulated, right? So the volcano doesn't need to appear at the same location every single time, right? And the crater doesn't need to appear in the same place every single time, right? If you change those parameters based on a noise function or a random function, right? Then your volcano starts to appear in different locations, and the crater starts to appear in different locations, or the volcano may not even appear at all, right? So it lets us have some control over art direction, so that we can kind of control and say like this planet should have a couple of volcanoes, or this one should have lots of volcanoes, right?
And not just volcanoes, right? Everything, every other feature.
Yeah.
Grab these two and these three and just put them in my backpack real fast. And that feels good. So I'd have all of those in my backpack.
This looks like the original Xbox intro screen when you fired it up.
Did it hurt your eyes?
Kind of. So if you heard all that noise, all the noise that was happening during that interview, it was these rascals over here. They're playing Ultimate Chicken Horse, and they're having a grand time.
Are you recording something? Because record this awesome move.
No.